The substructure of the universe regresses infinitely toward smaller and smaller components. Behind atoms we find electrons, and behind electrons quarks. Each layer unraveled reveals new secrets, but also new mysteries. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit. The popular stereotype of the researcher is that of a skeptic and a pessimist. Nothing could be further from the truth. Scientists must be optimists at heart, in order to block out the incessant chorus of those who say, it cannot be done. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, University Commencement. Have you ever wondered why clouds behave in such familiar ways when each specimen is so unique? Or why the energy exchange market is so unpredictable? In the coming age, we must develop and apply non-linear mathematical models to real-world phenomena. We shall seek and find the hidden fractal keys which can unravel the chaos around us. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, University Commencement. It is a medical commonplace that the tissues of the human body replace themselves regularly, essentially creating an entirely new body every 7 years. From whence then come cancer and the slow degeneration of age? They exist as faults in the patterns of intelligence within the genes themselves. By reprogramming these smallest parts, the whole becomes well. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, Nonlinear Genetics. Let the Gains preach their silly religion, but one way or the other I shall see this compound burned, seared and sterilized until every hiding place is found and until every last mind-worm egg, every last slimy one has been cooked to a smoking husk. That species shall be exterminated, I tell you, exterminated! Academician Prokhor Zakharov, Lab 3 Aftermath. There are two kinds of scientific progress. The methodical experimentation and categorization which gradually extend the boundaries of knowledge, and the revolutionary leap of genius which redefines and transcends those boundaries. Acknowledging our debt to the former, we yearn nonetheless for the latter. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, addressed to the faculty. A brave little theory, and actually quite coherent for a system of 5 or 7 dimensions, if only we lived in one. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, now we are alone. This unusual specimen is not so much a classic particle as a connector, a kind of string attaching two particles. As distance increases, the connective power becomes attenuated, but if it is caught, the power vanishes forever. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit. Time travel, in the classic sense, has no place in rational theory, but temporal distortion does exist on the quantum level, and more importantly, it can be controlled. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit. Begin with a function of arbitrary complexity. Feed it values, sense data. Then take your result, square it, and feed it back into your original function, adding a new set of sense data. Continue to feed your results back into the original function ad infinitum. What do you have? The fundamental principle of human consciousness. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, the feedback principle. Man's unfailing capacity to believe what he prefers to be true rather than what the evidence shows to be likely and possible has always astounded me. We long for a caring universe which will save us from our childish mistakes, and in the face of mountains of evidence to the contrary, we will pin all our hopes on the slimmest of doubts. God has not been proven not to exist. Therefore, he must exist. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit. Time dilates as the speed of light approaches. To the extent that light consists of particles, it is in its own way timeless. Through simple perturbations of the temporal manifold, we can refract or repel photons most efficiently. Academician Prokhor Zakharov. Now we are alone. The genetic code does not and cannot specify the nature and position of every capillary in the body or every neuron in the brain. What it can do is describe the underlying fractal pattern which creates them. Academician Prokhor Zakharov. Nonlinear genetics. The first living thing to go through the device was a small white rat. I still have him, in fact. As you can see, the damage was not so great as they say. Academician Prokhor Zakharov. See how they run. We have reached an informational threshold which can only be crossed by harnessing the speed of light directly. The quickest computations require the fastest possible particles moving along the shortest paths. Since the capability now exists to take our information directly from photons traveling molecular distances, the final act of the information revolution will soon be upon us. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit. Remember, genes are not blueprints. This means you can, for example, insert the genes for an elephant's trunk into a giraffe and get a giraffe with a trunk. There are no genes for trunks. What you can do with genes is chemistry, since DNA codes for chemicals. For instance, we can, in theory, splice the native plant's talent for nitrogen fixation into a Terran plant. Academician Prokhor Zakharov. Nonlinear genetics.